first big topic we're going to talk about: how much longer will Ole Solskjaer be in charge at Manchester United? I know this is something you want to sink your teeth into, so I'm going to let you just run with it. But he's under pressure, right? Some really poor results in recent weeks. And even the wins they've had haven't been convincing performances. So how much pressure is he under at Old Trafford?
I don't think a ton, because I don't think people are getting fired these days. There's a lot of money to pay out, not to throw other people under the bus, but at the time of this, Steve Bruce is still employed. When you have a contract and your team is underperforming, it has to be really bad. And I think it would take United going out in the group stage. And I don't think they're in danger of that, obviously, having beaten Villarreal. But my big question is, if you're a Manchester United fan, everything we talked about for so long, like with the Jadon Sancho signing, it was, this is the signing they need to make. Whether, like a Cantona, or you're bringing in a huge player, right? You're bringing in the player that they lure, that they sign, that they can afford, and they're flexing their muscles. Do you feel like they have that at the manager? And I realize some first-time managers get the job done. We have seen that, but have we seen that at a Premier League club, at a big Premier League club? Arsenal, maybe it's turning around, but mixed results there. Man City, I think Pep's done some things before he got there. Jurgen Klopp had been to a Champions League final before he got there. Thomas Tuchel had been to a Champions League final before he got to Chelsea. So for me, it just doesn't ring to me. It's not passing the smell test, if you will. And I think they will underachieve and only go as far as their stars' individual talents for as long as they have Solskjaer as the boss.
That was going to be my next question to you. What is the main problem for Manchester United? And is it a question of the squad of players, or the coach, or both, a mixture? I mean, what is the main issue? Because Solskjaer, as you said, his track record at Molde, Cardiff City, not the most impressive compared to, as you said, all the other managers of the big six clubs. And even Mauricio Pochettino, when he was at Tottenham, he'd done it in Spain and in the Premier League elsewhere, and he earned the right to be at one of the big boys. But Solskjaer is fallen to job. I would argue that he has improved Manchester United from when he took over from Mourinho and the absolute shambles the club was in at that time. To be up in the top four, back in the Champions League, attracting Varane, Ronaldo, and Sancho to come to the club. I mean, but signing big players has never really been a problem for Manchester United when Van Gaal, Mourinho, even David Moyes is in charge, right? So I feel like the squad of players isn't really to blame here. Am I right in saying that?
You're absolutely right. And Mourinho won a trophy there, a real trophy. And the big game appearance. And you only needed today with Villarreal to be reminded of his last big failure, which, I mean, going to penalty kicks against Villarreal. I almost wrote this in the three things we learned for today's game, or the recent game against Villarreal, because when you look at, I know Pau Torres is there and Paco Alcácer, he's a nice player. There are nice players there. But you look at Manchester United and who they trotted out there, it shouldn't be this way. If Cristiano Ronaldo, Sancho, and maybe I'm going to go on a tangent here, but Sancho, Van de Beek, a couple other young players, we haven't seen growth from them, despite the fact that they were hot commodities when they wound up at Man United. And I just think the questions are pretty big about not whether Solskjaer can finish in the top four. Of course he can. Joe, honestly, anybody, you, me, producer Gene, we can lead this team into the top four because of the talent there. But can you win when it matters? And I don't see him outfoxing Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they've come out so short in the cup competitions at the pivotal stages, the big moments, and they haven't really been close to challenging for the Premier League title since he's been in charge. So, yeah, the defensive injuries are hitting them hard right now. Obviously, losing Maguire and Shaw, that's not been ideal. But I do think that Ronaldo coming in, Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane, a big summer, a lot of money spent on big name players, that's put extra pressure on Solskjaer. Of course it has. And it's kind of accelerated that pressure on him and the expectation levels now this season that we need to win something. We can't just get to another final. And I know trophies, we talked about a lot with Pochettino at Spurs, doesn't mean success. What about if you're challenging for the title and you're genuine challengers and you're going deep in the Champions League? That's probably fair enough for a team like Tottenham or some of the other top four teams. But this is Manchester United. This is a team that has, like you said, a squad of players that even if Shaw and Maguire are missing, Lindelof and Alex Tellers are coming in, and they are very, very good backup players, and there should be no excuse. I think the main issue is in central midfield still. They seem to not be able to control the tempo of games in those holding areas, and Villarreal were very unlucky because David De Gea played a blinder in goal. He made 2 or 3 amazing saves, a couple of bad misses for Villarreal on the counter-attacks. That's what I'm talking about, the midfielder there to control the tempo and to stop those counters. They just don't have an N'Golo Kante, a Thomas Partey, a Rodri. They don't have those players to stop other teams from basically just cutting through them like a knife through butter. So Ronaldo bailed them out against Villarreal, 95th minute winner. Incredible moments. Sir Alex Ferguson was applauding. It's Fergie time again. Solskjaer's big on the nostalgia. But I'm with you, I have to admit. I was going to stand up for him a bit more. But the more you said it, they're Manchester United. They deserve and can attract a much better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So my next question is, who out there can take charge right now that's available, or who you'd like to see at Manchester United if it does go the way that we think it's going to go with Solskjaer over the next few months? Because that's the tough part, right? If you want to get rid of him, who's going to be better to come in and replace him?
Yeah, and they have the key pieces right now that we know they're going to stay in the hunt. We know they're going to win enough games. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm just throwing something out there here, if you don't get a situation like Chelsea had with Tuchel, where Solskjaer is going to win you enough, he should still get you out of the group stage, and then somebody gets fired, and all of a sudden, why are they doing this now? Well, they didn't have a better option, because I can't tell you who is the hottest name on the market right now. Do we think that they can lure somebody who's in a job? Do we think Antonio Conte is willing to take on the Manchester United project? Maybe that is something like that, but there just isn't somebody out there. There isn't even the hot topic, right? What are you going to do? Hand it to Frank Lampard and say, hey, go ahead, buddy? I don't think there is a name out there right now that is really screaming for this hire. So you let the stars win. Solskjaer has had some tactical wins in the past. He has beaten Pep's Man City. He's won that derby. So I don't think that they're a failure for keeping him. I don't think they're screaming out for him to be fired. I just think they need better, and they ought to be brave enough to do it if it comes around.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because you look around, Frank Lampard, Eddie Howe, these kind of managers, they're all young and inexperienced. How is that any different? Howe's got more experience, but at that level, he hasn't.
Not in Europe, right?
No, exactly. And the pressure of being at a top team in the Premier League and in the world. So, yeah, Conte is the one, Antonio Conte, that really screams that if you want success, we know that he delivers that pretty much wherever he's gone, and trophies but it's short term, right? Everything about Manchester United. We want to build a legacy. We want to build something long term. Ole is going to bring through young British players, and that's our whole method. So we'll wait and see what happens, Nick. I think we'll be talking about this a lot in the next few months, given some of the growing pains we've seen at Manchester United early in the season. And on Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com, we'll keep you updated with the latest news from Manchester United, with the schedules, previews, recaps, reaction from Solskjaer, because he has had a few complaints about referees, and he's got kind of flickered through the Sir Alex Ferguson playbook there of excuses early in the season. So creating a bit of a siege mentality. Let's see if Ronaldo can keep bailing him out. I think he's going to have to rely on him a lot in the coming weeks and months.